Why should you have a YouTube channel? If you search on YouTube or on any search engine, most likely, most of the hits you get will be about money. I'm going to give you 5 reasons why you should consider starting a YouTube channel, and why for me, money is not the biggest one. Before we get into those 5 reasons, I need to give you a little bit of background, very brief, about where I've come from and how I've arrived at this point. So, worked until 2019, most of my working life in Hong Kong, and in 2021 we moved here to the Philippines, and a couple of months after we moved, we started building this house that you see behind me. I basically wanted something to do. I knew the house was going to take probably a year, maybe more, and I wanted to do something to keep me a little bit busy and maybe move me out of my comfort zone a little bit. So that was my initial reason for starting this channel. I'll come to the other reasons soon. But what quickly became clear to me was that money was not the only issue, and far from it, it wasn't even my biggest issue. So we have to deal with the elephant in the room. We do have to deal with money. If you are super successful on YouTube, you can make a ton of money. Mr. Beast, apparently, allegedly, who has 100 million subscribers, makes something like $30 million a year just from his YouTube business. He can make videos such as, for example, he's made one recently about how long does a pencil last. He got 44 million views so far. Now, if you're in his league and can make $30 million a year, maybe money's the biggest issue, or maybe by that point it's not. I don't know. But for me, with our tiny little channel, which is very niche, or at least has been so far, and is all about building the house that you see, the money that's come in so far doesn't even cover the costs of the equipment that I had to buy, which included the camera and a drone and ultimately a new laptop. I haven't covered those costs. Money was not the driving force, but it might be. If you want to make money from YouTube, you've got to do a few things right, and this video is not about how to make money from YouTube. Clearly, I am no expert, but it can be done. Many people do it very successfully. You need to be aware, though, that most YouTube creators don't make money. And you also need to think about the fact that at any time, YouTube could change the rules. They could disappear altogether. Or they could just say, we're paying out less or nothing. That seems unlikely right now, but it is a risk if you go into this thinking, I'm in it for the money. Still on the money subject, many people on YouTube talk about the fact that it can be a boost for your business. It is, no question. Potentially a very good marketing tool that many people use extremely successfully to help their other businesses. So there are many other ways that money can flow once you start your YouTube channel. You could get affiliate status, whereby you get small discounts or small amounts of money from other people buying stuff that you recommend. You might get sponsorships. You might sell merchandise. Lots of different ways. Again, many channels talk about how you can do that. So you can monetize, and you can be, in some cases, very successful. At the risk of being boring, it was just never my intention to go into this for the money. My second reason is all about confidence. I'd never done anything like filming a channel before, or filming anything. I was a kind of moderately confident public speaker, but that was only typically to an audience that was the company that I work for, never more than 300 people. So it was a different game altogether. I had no idea about how to film something. I had no idea about how to edit, what editing software to use, how to use that software, how to choose music, how to do any of this. So this was a whole new experience that took me way out of my comfort zone. And I quite liked it. I particularly like the fact that now I think, even at my advanced years, I can do something new, something different. That's a nice feeling. I got that confidence from producing YouTube videos. Reason number 3, education, for want of a better word. Our channel, as I said, is about building a house. Before we started this, what did I know about building a house? Absolutely nothing. So, one thought I had was that as a complete building dummy, maybe I could create some content that would show other people the successes and failures of our process, how a building dummy could interact with professionals and get a house built in the way that hopefully we like. I was also very much hoping that we would have viewers who would write in comments or send emails and kind of help us, help to educate me. And my word, has that worked out in spades. We have been incredibly fortunate to have had a whole host of people, both professionals in the building trade and non-professionals, who have regularly made comments on our channel that have helped us enormously. They've educated me. It's been an incredible process and one that is really quite fulfilling and unbelievably helpful in our journey to build this house. To all those people, if you're watching this, I just want to say thank you again. You guys have been unbelievable. So in the end, I've been educated, at least a little bit, and maybe, just maybe, we've helped to educate 1 or 2 people in some of the points about building a house. Number 4, keeping in touch. We live a long way from most of the people we know. Ultimately, YouTube is a social network. And particularly we've found, in conjunction with other social network platforms, particularly Facebook, it's a mechanism for showing people what's going on in our lives and keeping in touch with those people who might be a very long way away. If we make a video and we throw it out there, we sometimes get comments from those people we know. If we then also put it on Facebook, we get more comments, more interaction. And because of the nature of this, because it is a vlog, it's about our lives, they get to see a little bit about what we're up to and get the chance to talk to us about that. It's a fantastic part of this process. That doesn't apply to all YouTube channels, of course, but in our case, with this vlog type, it's really helped us keep in touch with those people that we just don't get to see very much. But it's a mechanism for communication. It's been fantastic for that. I'm about to give you number 5, and actually, for me, number 1. Before I do, if you've made it this far, thank you very much, appreciate that. If you wouldn't mind, drop a like in, maybe make a comment. Tell me that my first 4 are complete nonsense, or maybe you agree with 1 or 2. Subscribe. Now, if you're a familiar viewer from our main videos about house building, you will know that my requirements for a like, we've kept the benchmark very low. If this video doesn't make you violently ill, for me, that's enough. Go on, stick a like in. And violently, mind you, a little bit queasy, that doesn't qualify, still stick a like in. If you do that, I would be very, very grateful. Okay, number 5, my number 1. Coming into contact with new people. New and, quite often, remarkable people. I got the idea for this video about 4 or 5 months ago when I had a particular bit of correspondence just in the chat with one of our subscribers. And it just set me thinking about why we do this and what are the benefits of having this channel. And this particular set of comments, to me, was pretty amazing. It was with a subscriber that I initially knew as 64 Dasani. Later on, I knew him as TJ. TJ, by the way, has been a subscriber for a year now and is the absolute king of getting the first comment onto a video. He has done it more times than anybody else by a country mile. And for that alone, I was grateful. But the comments with TJ, they inevitably over time got a little bit more expanded, a little bit more about him and his family. And then 4 months ago, he blew my mind. He casually dropped in a comment that said he was going in for surgery. That was it, no details. And so I kind of followed up and said, what's going on? And there was no sense of boastfulness about it. I had to tease the answer out of him. Ultimately, he told me he was going into hospital to donate a kidney to his daughter. His daughter apparently is 29 years old, or was at that time, and was going on dialysis and needed a transplant. Dad, TJ, stepped up in the biggest possible way. Now, the great news is both father and daughter came through it entirely successfully, and last time I heard, both were doing really well. But that just blew my mind that I had some kind of, albeit tiny, connection with somebody that I would never otherwise have come across who was doing something like that. Now, many of you as parents, you'd do anything for your kids, wouldn't you? Maybe it's not that unusual, but actually donating a kidney or any organ for your offspring, wow, that's going about as far as you can go. I just had to catch my breath when I heard about that. It was something that I was gobsmacked by, I was amazed. I could understand it, it made sense. But the point was, I had had some kind of interaction with TJ, despite the fact that he lives in the US. There is no way I would ever have had any other way of coming across him. Now, the TJ story is probably a bit of an extreme example, but there have been so many subscribers that you kind of get to know a tiny, tiny little bit. You have almost conversations in the comments, if you're willing to do that. And I've made a point of always responding to comments. And you start to get a bit of a relationship. Of course it's minor, of course it's tiny, but you start to get little insights into other people's lives, people that you would never come across. We've had 4 or 5 of our subscribers have now come to visit us. So that takes that interaction a little tiny step further, well, quite a big step further actually. And we've thoroughly enjoyed all of those visits. We've been honoured, really, that they've taken the time to come and see us. So, that's my number one. It's coming across a whole new world of people, literally a whole new world. YouTube is global. Even on our tiny, tiny, tiny channel, we have subscribers listed from 20 countries. And you never know whose life you might get a little tiny insight into through those comments, and maybe through more than just comments, maybe a visit, maybe something else. But it's been a beautiful part of this process of having a YouTube channel. If for no other reason than you go out and start a YouTube channel just to meet new people, then I would highly encourage you to do it. Maybe it's not enough on its own. Maybe there are other barriers. But there you go. I've given you 5 reasons. Let me know what you think. What have I got wrong? What have I missed? There are, of course, many more. I've just picked my top 5. But what do you think would be in your top 5? I would love to hear from you. Send me a comment. I will reply to you in some form or another. It might be quite brief, but I'll do my best. Why do you think you should have a YouTube channel? Thanks for watching.